air pollution moves. It has several important implications. That means when the Cross Bronx Expressway is right next to your house, even if it's a few houses away, you're still going to notice it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of communities that are disenfranchised, I'll call it, unfairly bear the brunt of contamination, especially from local sources. If you brought up the Cross Bronx Expressway, they could have built it anywhere, but they built it through Washington Heights. Partly, there was always going to be, there's a good reason to do that in addition to the fact that, it has the, ethnic breakdown or whatever, or the low economic status, and therefore nobody was caring that much about it or something. There's a lot of reasons that all come together, right? That something ends there, but the outcome is certainly unfair in the end. And in many cases, it probably even exacerbates inequality, right? Because once you put the Cross Bronx there and less people want to, are moving in right next to it, then in many ways we even make the problems worse that in those places, in those communities. Low income communities in general don't have the same ability to complain about building in certain ways, and contamination and generally end up on the short end of the stick. That said, like I say, there's contamination everywhere. To mobilize people, believe me, people care more about what you're thinking than what I'm thinking in this regard, right? Like, so by all means, coming with a well-prepared statement that says what you're thinking and why you're thinking it with real numbers is something that people listen to. So you have that ability to speak out, and just need a little help learning how to work the system, we'll call it, so that you can figure out how to have that opportunity. Cross Bronx Expressway traffic changes every hour, right? And it's not always the same. And actually making measurements, you learn a whole bunch about that. And the old measurements were only made in a few places and at a few times of day, sort of averaged out, so you didn't get any detail. But we can make measurements quickly and make them constantly and make them many places. And I learned surprisingly, I wasn't expecting this, that the Cross Bronx worst traffic or worst air pollution levels that you find locally on the Wheel School is at 9 p.m., not during commute hours. And then I figured out, well, that's when actually trucking is allowed across the GW Bridge. So they don't allow trucks to go onto the Cross Bronx Expressway during the day for the most part, at least lots of the heavy trucks. So all these, at nighttime, the pollution is really driven by those trucks, and it's actually quite bad at night. An interesting thing I never would have saw if we didn't have our own data at this right scale.